Queen Elizabeth says she wants Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, to be known as Queen Consort when Prince Charles becomes king.
When it comes to the British royal family, few figures have been as scrutinized, debated, and ultimately transformed in the public eye as Queen Camilla. Once regarded as one of the most controversial women in the monarchy, she is now standing as the Queen Consort beside King Charles III. But recent heartbreaking news has shaken her world and reminded royal watchers everywhere that behind the titles, jewels, and ceremonies, there are real people facing real struggles. For decades, Camilla has endured endless headlines, first as the other woman in Princess Diana's tragic story, and later as the woman who helped King Charles step into his long-awaited role. Slowly, through quiet resilience and her dedication to charitable causes, she won much of the public's respect. Yet just as she finally found her footing as queen, life dealt her another heavy blow. The heartbreaking news surrounding Queen Camilla has not only rattled Buckingham Palace, but has also sparked conversations worldwide about resilience, loss, and what it truly means to stand by someone's side through every trial. For Camilla, this isn't just another chapter in royal history. It's one of the most difficult battles of her personal life. As we uncover the story, we'll explore what this devastating update means for Camilla, how it affects the future of the monarchy, and why, even after all these years, she remains one of the most polarizing figures in royal history. Queen Camilla's journey to the throne has been anything but ordinary. For much of her life, she carried the weight of public criticism, often being painted as the villain in one of the most infamous love stories of the 20th century. When her relationship with then Prince Charles became public knowledge during his marriage to Princess Diana, Camilla faced an avalanche of negative press. For years, she was vilified in the media, portrayed as the woman who disrupted the fairy tale marriage that the world had once celebrated. Despite the storm, Camilla chose not to fight her battles in the press. Instead, she quietly focused on her personal life, her family, and the man she loved. Over time, her patience and resilience began to shift public perception. By the early 2000s, she and Charles made their relationship official, and when they married in 2005, many still doubted whether the public could ever accept her. Yet slowly but surely, Camilla carved out her place in royal life. Through charity work focused on literacy, domestic violence awareness, and animal welfare, she proved her commitment to causes that mattered deeply to her. She kept a low profile but remained steady, never trying to overshadow others in the royal family. When Queen Elizabeth II gave her blessing for Camilla to be known as Queen Consort upon Charles's ascension, it marked a stunning turn in her story, from scandal-ridden outsider to a respected royal figure. But as Camilla finally settled into her role with dignity and grace, heartbreaking news emerged, casting a shadow over her new chapter as queen. What should have been a period of stability and triumph is now clouded by concern, reminding the world that the monarchy, no matter how grand, is never immune to human struggles. For Queen Camilla, life has always been lived under the microscope, but nothing could have prepared her for the heartbreaking news that recently shook Buckingham Palace and the millions of royal watchers around the world. Reports emerged that Camilla has been facing overwhelming personal strain, largely tied to King Charles III's ongoing health battles and the pressures of her own demanding role as Queen Consort. The news struck a chord with many, particularly because it painted a raw picture of a woman who, after decades of enduring scandal and criticism, finally found acceptance, only to face new challenges that no crown could shield her from. Sources close to the royal family revealed that Camilla has been carrying a heavy burden, standing as both wife and caretaker during one of the most fragile times in modern royal history. With King Charles stepping into the throne at an age when most are enjoying retirement, his health and stamina remain under constant scrutiny. Camilla, often described as his closest confidant, has been by his side every step of the way. But behind the royal smiles and carefully orchestrated public appearances, insiders say the toll on her is immense. The heartbreaking update suggested that Camilla herself has been privately struggling, overwhelmed not only by the health concerns surrounding her husband, but also by the unrelenting pressure of public expectations. The weight of stepping into a role that comes with centuries of tradition, while simultaneously navigating private grief and uncertainty, has left her exhausted. For a woman who never sought the limelight but was instead thrust into it, the pressure has been extraordinary. Observers note that Camilla's recent public appearances have shown signs of strain. While she remains composed and gracious, royal correspondents have pointed out her visible fatigue, her quieter demeanor, and moments where she appeared less at ease than usual. The revelation sparked concern, not just for her well-being, but also for the long-term stability of the monarchy itself. If both the king and queen are facing such personal challenges, what does this mean for the institution they represent? In many ways, this heartbreaking news has humanized Camilla in the eyes of the public even more. For decades, she was seen as the woman who lived in Diana's shadow, then as a controversial figure in Charles's story. But now people see her as a wife and partner standing at the side of a man she's loved for most of her life, doing everything in her power to protect and support him, even at the cost of her own health and happiness. The palace has remained tight-lipped, as is their custom, offering only brief reassurances. Yet royal watchers know that silence often speaks volumes. The heartbreaking truth is that Camilla's struggles are far greater than most realized, and her journey as queen consort is proving to be one of the most emotionally demanding roles in the monarchy's recent history. Behind the ornate walls of Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle, Queen Camilla's life has been a balancing act between duty and personal struggle. The heartbreaking news about her private burdens has raised a question that few royal insiders dare to ask. How much more can she endure? Those closest to Camilla describe her as remarkably strong, yet even the strongest hearts can bend under relentless pressure. Friends say that her coping mechanism has always been to keep calm and carry on, echoing the famous British phrase. But unlike the generations of royals before her, Camilla entered this world much later in life, without decades of preparation for the role. Now, at an age when many women are enjoying time with grandchildren and quiet retirement, she finds herself at the center of one of the most demanding roles in the world. Privately, Camilla leans heavily on her children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes, who have been her quiet anchors throughout her royal journey. While they live outside the royal bubble, they offer her emotional support that only family can provide. In moments when the palace feels more like a stage than a home, Camilla retreats to them for a sense of normalcy. Another source of strength has been her deep bond with King Charles. Despite the controversies that once surrounded their love story, theirs has proven to be a marriage, rooted in loyalty and shared purpose. Insiders say Camilla often puts Charles's needs above her own, determined to shield him from additional stress as he navigates his own health concerns. But this devotion, while admirable, has only added to her exhaustion. Public reaction to the heartbreaking news has been surprisingly empathetic. In the United States, where the royal family is often viewed with fascination, Camilla's story has struck a more relatable chord. Many Americans see her less as a distant queen and more as a woman standing by her husband through illness, criticism, and the heavy responsibilities of leadership. The same woman who was once ridiculed in the press is now being seen as resilient, someone whose struggles reflect the quiet battles many women face when they become caretakers for the ones they love. Still, the weight of expectation remains crushing. Camilla is not only expected to stand beside Charles, but also to carry out her own royal duties, charity engagements, public appearances, and international visits. Every moment is photographed, every expression analyzed, leaving little room for vulnerability. Yet those who know her best say she has learned to draw strength from the very duties that exhaust her. Meeting with survivors of domestic violence, supporting literacy programs, and standing as a patron for countless causes allows her to turn personal pain into compassion for others. In many ways, Camilla's private coping reflects the paradox of monarchy itself, a life of privilege wrapped in relentless responsibility. She may wear a crown, but she carries the weight of human frailty just like anyone else. And now, as the heartbreaking news ripples across the globe, the question lingers. How long can she balance the heavy crown with the even heavier burdens of her private life? As Queen Camilla steps into a new and uncertain chapter of her life, the heartbreaking news surrounding her continues to cast a shadow over the monarchy. What was once a role she took on with caution and quiet determination has now become a test of both her emotional and physical strength. While the headlines have been relentless, those closest to her know that Camilla has always possessed a resilience that few ever truly recognize. The weight of responsibility on her shoulders is immense. As queen consort, she must balance her personal struggles with the public duties expected of her. From state banquets to charity events, Camilla is constantly in the spotlight, even when her heart longs for privacy. The heartbreaking news has only intensified the scrutiny, with the public questioning how much more she can endure. Yet in the midst of it all, Camilla continues to show the same determination that has defined her journey since she first stepped into the royal circle. What makes her story so compelling is the transformation she has undergone. For decades, Camilla was portrayed by the press as an outsider, criticized heavily for her relationship with King Charles. Yet, over time, she slowly earned a measure of respect, not by demanding it, but by consistently showing grace and loyalty. Now, with the monarchy facing unprecedented challenges, that same quiet strength is being tested in ways no one could have predicted. Those close to Camilla say that she draws her strength from her deep bond with King Charles. Their relationship, which once stood at the center of controversy, has now become a cornerstone of stability for them both. In private, Charles relies heavily on Camilla, leaning on her counsel and support during times of uncertainty. Their love story, once doubted by many, now stands as a source of comfort and resilience for the royal family. It is perhaps this devotion to one another that allows Camilla to keep moving forward, even as personal heartbreak weighs heavily on her. Still, the road ahead is not without obstacles. The monarchy is navigating a rapidly changing world, one where traditions are often questioned and the younger generation views the institution through a critical lens. Camilla must balance her role as a traditional queen consort with the demands of a modern monarchy. Her ability to connect with people, particularly through her charitable work, may prove to be her greatest strength as she seeks to bridge the gap between the old and the new. But behind the public facade, Camilla remains human. The heartbreaking news has revealed the fragility that lies beneath the crown. While she is expected to appear strong for the cameras, in private she carries the same fears, doubts, and pain as anyone else. For Camilla, the journey ahead is as much about emotional endurance as it is about fulfilling royal obligations. What lies in the future for Queen Camilla remains uncertain. Will she be able to continue carrying out her duties with the same composure she has shown thus far? Or will the weight of personal loss and public pressure eventually force her to step back? Only time will tell. Yet if her past is any indication, Camilla has a way of surprising those who underestimate her. She has weathered storms before, public scandals, media attacks, and years of being cast in the shadows. Each time she has emerged stronger, more determined, and more committed to the role she now holds. As the nation watches closely, one truth remains clear. Queen Camilla's story is far from over. It is a story of heartbreak, resilience, and quiet perseverance. And while the heartbreaking news has shaken both her and the monarchy, it may also serve as a reminder of her humanity, a quality that, in the end, could make her one of the most relatable and enduring figures in royal history.